Hi, I'm Edward, and I'm proud to introduce the Marching Revolution podcast. Just a heads up, this show is powered by my AI workforce, so you won't be hearing my voice just yet. Instead, you'll be hearing two AI hosts bring these stories to life. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the show, and welcome to the revolution. This is the Marching Revolution podcast.
Boots on the ground with a thunderous beat, hearts in sync, our purpose complete. Map of the future drawn by our stride. Through the struggle we walk unified. Marching forward, we're no
Hey there, and welcome to the Marching Revolution. Forget the dusty old narratives. We're plunging headfirst into the vibrant, often overlooked world of drum corps.
That's right.
Today, we're lacing up our hypothetical marching boots and heading straight to the heart of New York City to explore the captivating story of the Skyliners.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. You, our awesome listener, sent in your sources, and they paint such a rich picture.
You really do.
And this isn't just about the impressive music and, precision marching. It's a story woven with threads of community spirit, that never say die attitude, and a constant drive to redefine what a drum corps can actually be. We've got the lowdown on their humble beginnings, those championship-soaked years, and the tough times they weathered.
So settle in, because this isn't some dry historical recitation. It's a living, breathing revolution in rhythm and movement.
Exactly. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's wind the clock all the way back to 1945. We're in Manhattan.
Right after the war.
Yeah, imagine this. A bunch of recently discharged World War II vets linking up with William St. John from the Phoebe Apperson Hearst Junior Corps.
A well-known junior corps back then.
Right. And they're kicking around the idea of starting a brand new senior corps. It speaks to that immediate post-war energy, doesn't it? Folks looking to rebuild and find new ways to connect.
Absolutely. And, for many veterans, that structured environment of drum corps likely resonated deeply with their military experience.
That makes sense.
But, in a really positive way, of course. It offered that sense of belonging and shared purpose they were used to, but now outside of the context of conflict.
Sadly, early on, they faced a real gut punch with the sudden death of St. John.
Yeah, that was tough.
It sounds like it could have derailed the whole project, but this determined crew just kept pushing forward. You've got to admire that kind of resilience right from the jump.
It really does highlight their deep commitment. To face such a significant setback so early on and still maintain that vision and drive is pretty remarkable. It speaks volumes about how much this idea meant to them.
Then at their second meeting, they made a really meaningful decision, naming both the American Legion Post and the Corps after Raymond de Garbarina.
Yeah.
He was this young guy totally passionate about drum corps who had been involved with the Grand Street Boys Junior Corps and the Hearst Unit, both real powerhouses on the scene. It's a poignant way to honor someone's passion.
That act of remembrance is so telling, isn't it? It shows just how deeply ingrained that sense of community and honoring their own was right from the start.
Yeah.
Naming themselves after someone who just embodied the spirit of drum corps. Well, it sets a really powerful tone for everything they would do.
And so in 1946, they officially became the Raymond de Garbarina American Legion Post number 1523. And the Corps was initially known as the Raymond de Garbarina Memorial Corps.
A bit of a mouthful.
Right. Thankfully, that eventually morphed into the Garbarina Skyliners, a bit easier on the tongue.
You can see that natural evolution, though. Streamlining the name for everyday use while still keeping that core tribute to Garbarina intact. It's a practical move that doesn't lose sight of their origins.
What's really interesting is where some of their early support came from. This fella named Sam Aaron.
The unsung hero, maybe?
Could be. He stepped up with crucial loans to get them off the ground, even bankrolling their trip all the way to California in 1950.
Wow, California in 1950, that's a huge trip for a corps back then.
Totally. He was a quieter figure, but clearly a vital force in those early days. It's often those behind-the-scenes folks who really make things happen, isn't it?
It really is. That initial financial backing can absolutely be the deciding factor for any new venture, especially something as resource-intensive as a drum corps. Aaron's willingness to invest in these young people really speaks to the community's belief in the Corps and the importance of these kinds of activities in their social lives. You often saw local businesses, individuals stepping up. They were real community hubs.
And they also lucked out with some top-notch instructors. James J. Donnelly came on board as the music instructor.
A key name.
And Colonel Edward Pierce, a real master of percussion and marching and maneuvering, joined the team. These two were often credited with the Corps' rapid progress and those early national championships. Talk about hitting the jackpot with your leadership.
Oh, absolutely. This really highlights the critical role of skilled leadership, both on the musical and visual fronts. Donnelly and Pierce clearly brought a level of expertise and vision that propelled the Skyliners forward incredibly quickly.
Yeah. How so?
Well, Donnelly, for instance, he was known for his innovative brass voicings, really pushing the boundaries of what the instruments could do back then.
Okay.
While Pierce's drill designs were considered groundbreaking for their visual complexity and overall impact, they were ahead of the curve.
Can you imagine their very first public performance? It was an exhibition at a New York Giants football game at the Polo Grounds.
Wow. That's throwing them in the deep end.
Right. That's a massive stage right out of the gate. What a way to announce your arrival to the city.
Talk about a built-in audience. It speaks to their ambition, for sure, and perhaps even some early connections within the local community to land such a high-profile gig so early in their existence.
Yeah, definitely wasn't your average small-town debut.
Not at all.
Here's a cool little tidbit that shows their resourcefulness. In late 1947, when Hank Goldstein went to Kahn Instruments to buy bugles,
Uh-oh.
he found out they'd actually stopped making them.
No way. Kahn stopped making bugles.
Apparently so, at least for a time. For a whole decade, the Skyliners had to make do with this mixed set of horns.
A whole decade. Wow. Imagine the challenges that presented musically, trying to create a cohesive sound with mismatched instruments.
Seriously.
It's a real testament to their adaptability and the ingenuity of their musical staff. Donnelly probably pulling his hair out.
Huh. Probably.
To work with non-standard equipment for so long requires a real dedication to making the best of what they had. It likely even shaped their early sound in some unique and interesting ways, you know?
Yeah, I bet. And their iconic uniform. It's like a wearable piece of drum corps history.
Oh, the uniform is legendary.
The black gabardine trousers with that striking red stripe that came straight from the Hearst Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And the red cadet-style jacket, the white shoes, the cross-belt citation cord, and that breastplate over a black cummerbund, those were from the Grand Street Boys.
Yep, putting it all together.
Later on, as the Garbarina Corps, they added the white shako with that red plume. This incredible visual blend, like they were literally wearing their roots.
That's a fantastic way to put it. The uniform wasn't just about looking sharp. It was a living history, a tangible representation of the lineage.
Right.
And the merging of these two important foundational junior corps. For the members, it likely fostered a sense of connection to that shared past.
I would think so.
And for the audience, it provided a unique and recognizable visual identity that spoke to the history of drum corps in New York. It stood out.
They got their first taste of competition in the summer of 1947 as part of the interstate circuit.
Okay, getting their feet wet.
Yeah. They finished a respectable third, behind the Connecticut Yankees and Doremus Post. Not a bad opening salvo at all.
No, that's a really solid showing right out of the gate, especially competing against established corps. It definitely suggested they were on the right track and had the potential to really climb the ranks.
And then came this absolutely unprecedented period of dominance. From 1949 to 1951.
Here we go.
The Skyliners were hitting contests practically every single weekend and just consistently beating everyone, big names or smaller local corps. I mean, every single weekend.
That level of dedication is just mind-boggling. The sheer level of activity is astounding.
All right.
It speaks to an incredible dedication from the members, the staff, and the support network. That kind of schedule takes a serious commitment from everyone involved. No weekends off for years.
This all led to a 4-year stretch where they entered 41 contests and walked away with 38 wins.
38 wins.
Finishing second only twice and third just once. And their victories were often by pretty significant margins.
Wow.
That's not just winning, that's establishing a dynasty. What do you think fueled that incredible run of success? Was it their musical arrangements, their drill, or something else entirely?
It was likely a combination of factors, wasn't it? The strong instruction from Donnelly and Pierce laid a solid foundation.
Okay.
Their innovative musical arrangements for the time probably set them apart, and their visual presentation, the Pierce drills, must have been equally compelling. Beyond that, you can't underestimate the impact of a winning culture. That kind of sustained success builds momentum and attracts even more talented members who want to be part of something special. Everyone wants to join a winner.
It's wild to hear about some of the roadblocks they faced early on, too. A really quirky rule at the 1947 American Legion National Convention in New York City actually prevented the hometown Garbarina Corps from even competing.
Oh, you're kidding? Because they were the home corps.
Apparently. And the following year, a lack of funds kept them from the national title in Miami. Talk about some frustrating hurdles on their path to the top.
It really highlights the various challenges that drum corps face, doesn't it? From administrative oddities to the ever-present issue of funding.
Yeah.
To be denied a chance to compete for a national title due to your location must have been incredibly disappointing for those early members.
But then in 1949, at Municipal Stadium in Philadelphia, they finally clinched that first national championship.
Finally.
After all those near misses and frustrations, that must have been an absolutely electric moment for the Corps.
Oh, I bet. A truly pivotal moment for the Skyliners, validating all their hard work, their perseverance through those early challenges, and firmly establishing them as a national force to be reckoned with.
And they weren't one-hit wonders. In 1950, they traveled to Los Angeles as the defending champs.
Cross-country trip again?
Right. They took first in the prelims, and then, in front of 30,000 fans at the Coliseum,
30,000.
they defended their title. The buzz after their performance was described as a huge ovation with sustained applause.
Goosebumps.
Even the national champion color guard of Doremus Post had a pretty clear message for them. You guys are in.
Wow, that's some serious respect from your peers.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. To not only win back-to-back titles, but to earn that kind of admiration and respect from their fellow competitors, especially the reigning color guard champions, really speaks to the exceptional quality of their performance.
Yeah.
And the impact they were having on the activity. They'd arrived.
But then tragedy struck again in 1951 with the passing of John F. Mazarakos, a celebrated snare drummer known for his marching and maneuvering skills who had served in the Marines.
Another loss.
Yeah. They honored him by adding his name to the Post flag and charter as a lasting tribute. It really underscores how deeply these bonds within a corps can run.
It really does. It reinforces the idea that these corps are so much more than just musical ensembles. They're tight-knit communities, almost families, where individuals leave a lasting impact on the lives of their fellow members. Honoring Mazarakos in this way really demonstrates that deep connection and the enduring legacy of its members.
Their undefeated streak against other American Legion Corps finally came to an end at a contest in Morristown, New Jersey in August 1951.
Ah, all good things.
Right. A sudden downpour interrupted their performance, and they suffered their first loss to Hawthorne. You can't even plan for Mother Nature throwing a wrench in the works.
No, it's a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of outdoor performance, isn't it? To have such a dominant streak broken by something completely outside of their control must have been a tough pill to swallow, especially after such a period of consistent victories.
And the 1951 American Legion Championships were apparently quite the nail-biter, despite winning all the judging categories except for drumming.
Oh, boy.
A contentious decision in the drum judging cost them the title by just 1/10 of a point against the Caballeros, ending their winning streak in a major way.
1/10 of a point. Ouch.
It sounds like the judging has always been a source of passionate discussion in the drum corps world.
Huh. You could say that. That razor-thin margin of defeat, particularly with such a contested judging call, must have been incredibly frustrating. It's one of those moments that becomes a part of the Corps' history and, fuels future rivalries.
For sure.
Yeah.
Then the mid-1950s brought some serious headwinds after a no-show at the American Nationals in 1954.
Okay, what happened there?
Well, apparently a large chunk of their members actually defected to the Caballeros.
Whoa, to their rivals.
Yeah, citing frustration with the administration. Membership plummeted to a mere 16 people at one point,
16.
with the color guard making up most of that number. It really looked like the end of the road for the once mighty Skyliners. That's a dramatic fall from grace.
It really is. It's a stark reminder that even the most successful organizations can face internal challenges and significant setbacks. Losing that many members at once is a critical blow to any corps.
Yeah. The sources hint at administrative frustrations. Any more insight into what might have been going on behind the scenes?
Well, the sources don't go into exhaustive detail, but these kinds of mass departures often stem from disagreements about leadership direction, maybe operational decisions, or even just differing philosophies about the Corps' future. Something clearly wasn't working for a lot of people.
But in a testament to their Corps spirit, the remaining members rallied. They voted in new leadership, and Bill Borner, a former director, stepped back into the role.
Bourne came back.
Yeah. He teamed up with Jim Salamone and together they started what must have been a really tough rebuilding process. Word got around, and within just a few months, the Corps went from 16 to 36 members.
Wow. Talk about a phoenix rising from the ashes. What do you think was the key to that rapid resurgence?
Maybe just that determination.
That kind of resilience is truly inspiring. To go from such a low point to more than doubling in size in such a short time really speaks to the enduring spirit of the individuals who remain loyal and their ability to inspire others to join their cause. It likely involved a renewed sense of purpose under the new leadership and a strong desire to see the Skyliners thrive again. People believed in the name.
Henry Lefty Mayer joined as the business manager, forming what sounds like a crucial leadership trio.
Getting the house in order.
Exactly. They made the tough but probably smart decision not to compete in 1955, focusing instead on rebuilding their foundations through parades and standstill exhibitions. Sometimes you've got to take a step back to ultimately leap forward, right?
Absolutely. That was a wise and strategic decision. Focusing on the foundational elements, rebuilding their membership, their finances, their internal stability before jumping back into the intense pressure of competition was likely essential for their long-term recovery. Smart move.
And in 1956, the Skyliners made their triumphant return to competition at the Pageant of Drums in Kingston, New York.
Okay, back on the field.
Earning a third-place finish to what was described as a thunderous welcome.
Oh, I bet. The crowd clearly hadn't forgotten them and were rooting for their comeback.
Seems like it.
That thunderous welcome really underscores the emotional connection the audience had with the Skyliners and their story. It's a powerful reminder of the impact they had made in their earlier years.
Yeah.
And the affection they had cultivated within the drum corps community.
That hard work definitely paid off. By 1957, they were back in the thick of it, competing with the nation's best and finishing 6th at the American Legion Finals, less than a single point behind the prelims winner.
Wow, back in the top 6 already.
They were knocking on the door again.
It really shows just how quickly they were able to regain their competitive edge after such a significant setback. Finishing in the top 6 nationally after rebuilding from practically nothing is a remarkable achievement and a testament to their talent and dedication.
The late 1950s saw this real resurgence, fueled by talent coming in from various junior and senior corps in the area.
The pipeline was working again.
Yeah. By 1959, even while still in that rebuilding phase, they had become a real crowd favorite, eliciting these overwhelming cheers and demands for encores at shows.
That's fantastic. That speaks volumes about their performance quality and the connection they were forging with the audience.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, the fact that they were still a crowd favorite, even while rebuilding, speaks volumes about their engaging performance style and the overall quality of their musical and visual product. That kind of audience connection is often just as important as the scores on the sheet.
Yeah, totally. The 1960s ushered in what was called the Big Sound, with a noticeably larger horn line.
Getting louder.
Seems like it. Eric Perillou's drum line became a major strength, and in 1960, they snagged their first win in Jersey City, notably beating their rivals Hawthorne.
Beating Hawthorne again. Nice. It sounds like they were evolving and adapting to the changing trends in drum corps.
Definitely.
That emphasis on the big sound definitely reflects a trend in drum corps at the time, with corps increasingly focusing on the power and volume of their brass sections. Their victory over Hawthorne also signifies their return to competitive prominence within the region.
1962 was a bit of a transitional year, with a lot of veteran members retiring and a fresh wave of energy coming from the junior corps ranks.
The cycle continues.
Yeah. While victories might have been fewer that season, they apparently always performed with that signature Skyliner spirit. That core identity seems to have been a constant throughout their history.
That's absolutely crucial for any long-standing organization, isn't it? Even through periods of change and personnel turnover, maintaining that core identity and performance style helps to preserve the essence of the corps and keeps their fan base connected.
1963 was a bit of a roller coaster. They started with some struggles due to undermanned sections.
Okay.
But then, somewhat ironically, the misfortunes of local junior corps actually provided an influx of new talent.
Oh, interesting. So other corps folding helped them.
Sounds like it. They even got members from the U.S. Air Force Bowling Field Drum Corps joining their ranks.
Well, military musicians joining, that's some serious talent.
Right. And in a real upset, the Skyliners ended the Caballeros' undefeated season at a show in Bridgeport.
Took down Cabs.
Nice. They capped it off by winning the 1963 World Open in Jersey City after the national champions couldn't make it. Talk about a season of unexpected twists and turns.
Absolutely. Navigating those personnel challenges and then achieving such significant victory against a top-tier corps like the Caballeros really highlights their resilience and their ability to capitalize on unexpected opportunities.
Definitely.
Winning the World Open, even with the absence of the national champions, was still a major accomplishment. You take the win.
1964 brought more changes. The Corps was a bit smaller, and for the first time, they didn't compete at the National Dream Contest.
Okay.
However, they remained a strong contender, narrowly missing the World Open title to the Connecticut Hurricanes.
Still competitive.
But here's a cool piece of history. The New York Skyliners were the very first corps to ever win a DCA contest on June 6, 1964, in New Haven, Connecticut.
The very first. Wow. That's a pretty significant milestone in the history of drum corps associates.
Isn't it?
It certainly is. To be the first ever winner of a DCA contest is a distinction that will always belong to the Skyliners. It marks the beginning of a new and important chapter in the history of senior drum corps.
The mid-1960s continued with some solid performances, including a fourth-place finish at the 1964 DCA Finals. 1965 brought some fresh energy with a new drill instructor.
Shaking things up visually.
And then 1966 was a really memorable year for them. They swept the American Legion State Championship, the Dream Contest, and the GCA Championship.
Oh, a triple crown of sorts.
Yeah. Interestingly, that marked their last American Legion national competition for almost 15 years. It sounds like a real golden period for the Corps, solidifying their place in the DCA landscape.
A truly remarkable season, capturing those 3 major titles. It really solidified their position as one of the top corps in the activity and signaled a clear shift in their competitive focus towards DCA. Makes sense.
The late 1960s saw another period of transition and rebuilding. They finished 5th at DCA Finals in 1968.
Still top 5.
And then 1969 showed real promise with some early wins and a strong second-place finish at DCA Finals.
So close again.
It seems like this cycle of building, competing at a high level, and then rebuilding again was a recurring theme throughout their history.
It's a natural part of the life cycle of any long-standing volunteer organization, isn't it? Especially one that relies on a constant influx of new members as older members age out or move on. The ability to adapt and rebuild effectively is absolutely key to long-term survival in this activity.
The 1970s kicked off with a bit of a step back in 1970, but it sounds like they took some pretty drastic measures, leading to a significant restructuring of both the Corps and the staff for the 1971 season.
Okay, hitting the reset button.
Seems like it. Despite starting with a smaller horn line, their confidence grew. And that actually helped attract more members. That kind of turnaround often requires some bold moves, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That kind of dramatic shift often comes from strong and decisive leadership with a clear vision for the future. To rebuild so quickly from a smaller foundation requires not only a solid plan, but also the ability to inspire and motivate potential members. They had to sell the vision.
And in what must have been an absolutely incredible turnaround, this rebuilt Corps came out with 46 horns.
Back up in numbers.
And after some close early losses, went on to capture the Dream, the World Open, and the 1971 DCA Championship. A true Triple Crown victory.
Wow. Talk about a comeback story for the ages.
Right.
Absolutely incredible. To go from struggling to field a full corps to winning all 3 major championships in a single season, that's a testament to their incredible determination, the quality of their program, and the dedication of every single member and staff person involved. Just phenomenal.
1972 saw them continuing that dominant streak until a controversial drum judging decision at Schenectady apparently cost them an undefeated season right before DCA.
The judges again. Schenectady curse.
Maybe. Despite that setback, they still finished as the DCA runner-up. It seems like those judging controversies were just an ongoing part of the drum corps experience.
It's a recurring theme in the arts, isn't it? The subjective nature of judging can lead to some tough and sometimes contentious outcomes. And a single decision or perceived bad call can certainly have a significant impact on a corps' season and morale.
1973 brought some significant personnel changes, and they finished 5th at DCA.
Still in the hunt.
1974 saw them back in the winner's circle early in the season, although victories were being shared among several top corps. They ended up with a respectable third-place finish at DCA Finals. It sounds like the competitive landscape in DCA was really vibrant and dynamic during this period.
It definitely indicates a healthy level of competition within DCA at the time, with several corps performing at a very high level and vying for the top spots each season. Parity is good for the activity.
But 1975 was another triumphant year for the Skyliners. They unveiled a brand new show mid-season.
Mid-season change. Bold.
Yeah. and went on to win the Dream Contest, and then
Yeah.
capped it off by capturing their third DCA championship, even taking home the award for High Horns.
Nice. It sounds like that mid-season show change was a game changer for them.
Must have been.
That willingness to adapt and make significant changes to their program mid-season really demonstrates a strong commitment to excellence and a desire to reach their full potential. It's a risky move that clearly paid off for them in 1975.
The late 1970s saw them continue to be competitive, even with a large turnover in personnel in 1977.
Another rebuild phase, sounds like.
Yeah, they started strong in 1978, but ultimately finished third at DCA championships, and then in 1979, they finished fourth at DCA. Maintaining that high level of performance with significant personnel changes must have been a real challenge for the leadership.
Oh, definitely. Large personnel changes can definitely impact a corps' performance and require significant effort from the staff to rebuild cohesion and chemistry within the ranks. It's a constant balancing act for drum corps directors and staff.
The 1980s are described as a real emotional roller coaster for the Skyliners, a decade of turbulence, disappointment, elation, satisfaction, agony, survival, and sorrow.
Wow, that covers all the bases. Sounds pretty intense.
Right. They started the decade strong, earning the award for top drums at DCA in 1980, but finishing fourth overall.
So, great drumming, but the whole package wasn't quite there for the win. That's often the case in drum corps competitions. Excelling in one specific judging caption doesn't always guarantee overall victory.
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of having a well-rounded and high-scoring performance across all categories.
The 1981 season showed a lot of promise, but they ultimately finished fourth at DCA again.
Stuck in fourth for a bit.
Then, in a memorable moment in 1982, they actually defeated the previously undefeated West Shoremen
Ooh, giant killers.
and earned the High Brass Award at DCA Finals, finishing fifth. That must have been a particularly sweet victory, knocking off an undefeated rival and getting that brass recognition.
Absolutely. To defeat a corps that had been undefeated all season is a significant achievement and a huge morale booster for any team.
Yeah.
And the High Brass Award further underscores the musical excellence that the Skyliners continued to maintain, even if the overall placement wasn't number one.
The 1983 season was a frustrating one, ending without a single victory.
Oof, tough year.
And then tragedy struck again in 1984 with the passing of Heidreitzer, who sounds like he was a legendary fowler deeply connected to the Skyliners family.
Heidreitzer, yeah, a huge name, deeply involved for years. A major loss.
Despite that profound loss, they managed to have a notable victory against the Bushwhackers that season. It really speaks to the resilience of the community in the face of loss.
It really does. The passing of such a key and beloved figure can have a deep and lasting emotional impact on any organization, especially one as close-knit as a drum corps.
Mm-hmm.
That victory against the Bushwhackers likely served as a way for the members to honor his memory and find some solace during a difficult time, playing for high.
The 1985 season was labeled the Year of Survival due to a significant loss of drummers.
Drumline issues again, that can be killer.
Yeah, and they finished seventh at DCA. The late 1980s saw them working their way back up the competitive ladder. They achieved several High Horn Awards and finished seventh at DCA in 1987, although that was due to a rainout.
Rain-out finals, always unsatisfying.
Right. Despite high hopes and a strong membership, their placements in 1988 and 1989 remained consistent, but didn't quite break into that championship contention. It seems like those periods of rebuilding just kept coming around.
It really underscores the cyclical nature of drum corps and the constant need to adapt to changing circumstances, whether it's fluctuations in membership, financial challenges, or shifts in the competitive landscape. It's tough to stay on top consistently.
The 1990s started with a renewed sense of energy. They placed second in their opening show in 1990, taking home awards for high drums and high brass,
Strong start.
and ultimately finishing sixth at DCA. The early 90s saw their placements fluctuate a bit. By 1993, even though they showed significant improvement throughout the season, they finished seventh at DCA.
Still solidly in finals, but maybe not where they wanted to be.
The mid-90s saw them consistently placing in the top 10 at DCA, with 1995 being the last year they finished within 10 points of the top spot in open competition. It sounds like the overall level of competition in DCA was intensifying.
It definitely was. The margins of victory at the highest levels of drum corps competition can be incredibly small.
Yeah.
And maintaining that top-tier status requires constant effort, innovation in both program design and performance, and frankly, a bit of luck.
The late 1990s were a really tough period for the Skyliners. For the first time in a long time, they didn't even make the top 10 at DCA Finals in 1996.
Wow, missing the top 10, that must have been a shock.
Yeah. 1997 was even more challenging, actually leading to a loss of their DCA member status.
Ouch. Lost member status. That's serious.
The Corps had to go through another significant rebuilding phase. It just shows how precarious things can be in the world of drum corps.
It's a powerful reminder of the dedication and perseverance required to sustain a drum corps over the long term. The challenges can be significant, and maintaining that competitive edge requires constant effort from everyone involved. It's not easy.
The late 90s ended on a more positive note, though, with Anthony Cartinellis stepping in as director.
New leadership.
They made the strategic decision to compete in Class A at DCA in 1999 and convincingly won.
Smart move.
Right.
Regroup in Class A.
Marking their first victory in 15 years. And, importantly, serving as a crucial tool for recruiting new members. Sometimes a change in strategy can be exactly what an organization needs, right?
Absolutely. That shift to Class A allowed them to regain their footing, rebuild their confidence, and reignite that winning spirit within the Corps. It was a smart and necessary move for the long-term health and stability of the organization. Get a win under their belt.
The new millennium saw them back in the top 10 in DCA Open Class in both 2000 and 2001.
Back in Open Class finals. Good to see.
There was apparently a bit of a controversial uniform change in 2000.
Uh-oh. Uniform controversies are always fun. What happened?
The sources don't detail it much, just that it happened and caused some discussion. Following the 2001 season, Cartinelli decided to retire.
Okay.
A fund was then developed by supporters to bring back the traditional uniform.
Ah, the classic look.
And in 2002, the Corps proudly stepped onto the field wearing the old uniform again.
I bet the crowd went nuts.
Probably. They competed in Class A again that year and handily won. That uniform clearly held a lot of sentimental value and represented a strong connection to their history.
It really speaks to the strong connection between the members, the alumni, and the visual identity of the Corps, doesn't it? That return to the traditional uniform was likely a very significant and emotional moment for many who had a long history with the Skyliners. It mattered.
And looking ahead to 2025, the New York Skyliners are embarking on a brand new chapter, transitioning to DCI's Sound Sport program for their 80th anniversary season.
Sound Sport. Okay. Interesting move.
Yeah. This move will allow them to continue their core mission of entertainment and education while also adapting to the current challenges facing drum corps.
That makes sense. It's a smart and forward-thinking adaptation to the evolving landscape of the marching arts, allowing them to continue performing and engaging with audiences, while perhaps easing some of the significant pressures of traditional high-stakes competition, finds a new way to exist.
And it's great to hear that the Skyliners alumni are still active too, available for parades and exhibitions, really keeping that incredible legacy alive. It sounds like they're finding new and innovative ways to carry on their rich tradition.
Yeah, the active alumni corps is also a wonderful way to preserve their history and maintain that vital connection with the community that has supported them for so long. Keeps the spirit going.
The story of the Skyliners, as you can clearly hear, is so much more than just a list of scores and championships. It's a real testament to the incredible dedication of its members, the unwavering passion of its supporters, and that truly enduring spirit that defines the world of drum corps itself.
Absolutely.
From those early days, fueled by the camaraderie of the post-war era, to navigating periods of immense challenge and celebrating those triumphant comebacks, the Skyliners have undeniably left a profound and lasting mark on the marching arts.
No doubt about it. What really stands out to you from this deep dive into the Skyliners' history? Were you particularly intrigued by the unique origins of their iconic uniform?
Yeah, that was really too.
Or perhaps their remarkable ability to bounce back from adversity time and time again. That resilience is incredible.
It really is.
We really encourage you, the listener, to delve deeper into the story of the Skyliners and the fascinating history of drum corps as a whole. It's a world filled with these incredible stories just waiting to be uncovered.
For sure. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the legendary New York Skyliners. This has been the Marching Revolution.
Thank you for listening to the Marching Revolution podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Boots on the ground with a thunderous beat. Hearts in sync, our purpose complete. Map of the future drawn by our stride. Through the struggle we walk unified. Marching forward where no chains can hold. Hands in the dirt, we carve out gold. From the ashes we rise, we sing. For the power of the people is everything. like the dawn's first light, guiding us through the endless night. Every step shakes the earth awake. Our voices roar for justice's sake. Marching forward where no chains can hold. Hands in the dirt, we carve out gold. From the ashes we rise, we sing. For the power of the people is everything. The rhythm of hope, it pounds in our chest. We won't stop until we've done our best. The world is ours to turn to flame, and from it we'll forge a brand new name. Yeah! Craft the future, the wheels won't stall. Shoulder to shoulder we answer the call. Brick by brick through sweat and strive. In unity together we thrive.